Your person is exhausted, tired of numbing their pain, tired of pretending they don't feel the weight of everything that has happened, and tired of running from the truth that keeps catching up to them. In the quiet moments, when their distractions fail and the world slows down, they're finally confronting a reality they tried to bury. No matter how far they go or how long they stay away, no one has been able to replace you. The emotional distance they tried to maintain has only made the truth louder. Every attempt to move on, every effort to detach, has brought them right back to the ache of losing what they once took for granted. They feel now that you are looking away from them, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. And this is what hurts them the most. Because deep down, they know you didn't turn away without reason. They're painfully aware of the mistakes they made, the patterns they repeated, and how often you chose forgiveness in the hope that things would finally be different. You believed in their potential even when they didn't. You carried the emotional weight of the relationship in moments when they refused to take responsibility. Instead of acknowledging their faults, they projected their insecurities onto you, deflecting blame rather than facing their own wounds. That was the turning point. That was when something inside you shifted. You realized that love cannot grow in a space where accountability is absent and where you're made to question your own efforts. Slowly, and maybe even reluctantly, you began withdrawing your energy and attention, not as punishment, but as protection. You turned inward, redirecting the care you once poured into the connection toward yourself, your healing, and your own growth. You began nurturing the parts of yourself that had been neglected while trying to keep the relationship together. Their inconsistency, their constant in and out behavior, created confusion, doubt, and emotional instability within you. One moment they were present and full of promises, and the next, distant and unpredictable. Living in that emotional swing drained you, leaving you unsure of where you stood and what you meant to them. Eventually, you recognized that holding on to this pattern was costing you your peace. And so, with heavy but determined steps, you chose to pull back. You stepped away not because you stopped caring, but because you finally understood the value of your own mental and emotional well-being. You decided to prioritize the things that brought you clarity, calm, and genuine happiness, things that nurtured your heart rather than drained it. Now, as they sit with the silence they once believed they could endure, regret is settling in. It's not just a passing sadness, it's a deep awareness of how their choices, or lack of choices, shaped the current reality. They're realizing that the connection deserved more than what they gave it. They should have prioritized you, prioritized the relationship, and protected what the two of you were building. Instead, they allowed outside opinions to influence them. They gave other people's voices more power than the voice inside their own heart. Gossip, advice, judgment, and unnecessary interference created confusion where there should have been trust. Because they didn't set boundaries, misunderstandings multiplied. Because they didn't stand firmly for the connection, tension grew between you both. They're now understanding how much of the conflict could have been avoided if they had simply listened to you instead of the noise around them. If they had chosen honesty over pride, openness over defensiveness, accountability over blame, things might have unfolded differently. The stress that built up between you wasn't just the result of circumstances, it was the result of them not valuing the emotional safety of the relationship. You kept trying to guide the connection back onto stable ground, but they kept pulling in the opposite direction without fully realizing the damage it was causing. And now, standing in the aftermath of their own decisions, they see you focusing on yourself, healing, and slowly rebuilding your inner world. They see the strength you've developed, the boundaries you've set, and the peace you are creating for yourself. This is what stings the most for them, the realization that the version of you they are witnessing now, the stronger, wiser, more grounded you, is the version they could have grown alongside. This is the version they could have supported and loved if they had chosen to show up wholeheartedly. Regret has a way of clarifying what denial once blurred. They're now recognizing the depth of your loyalty, the sincerity of your intentions, and the patience you showed throughout the connection. And as much as they wish they could undo the past, they are left with the consequences of not prioritizing the one thing that genuinely mattered, the bond you shared. In their silence, they're learning a difficult truth: your absence carries a louder message than your presence ever did. Your distance is teaching them what your closeness tried to show them for so long. Even though we are miles apart, the distance has never managed to dim the warmth of your love that I continue to feel deep within my soul. It amazes me how someone who is not physically beside me can still influence my emotions so gently, so powerfully, and so consistently. Your presence lingers in my thoughts no matter where I am or what I am doing, as if a part of you travels with me everywhere. That is why I ask you, with all sincerity, to keep a special space for me within your heart. I say this not out of desperation, but out of a profound understanding that I may never again find someone who makes me feel the way you do, someone whose love reaches me even through silence, distance, and time. Nothing is more painful than being apart from you. There are moments when the separation feels unbearable, when the quiet around me makes your absence echo even louder inside my chest. My heart belongs to you, and that is something I cannot change, nor would I ever want to. The love I carry for you is stronger than anything life has thrown at me, and nothing, not distance, not mistakes, not time, could ever break it. I have always felt proud, deeply proud, to have met someone as loyal, as genuine, and as beautifully resilient as you. You possess a grace that is not just elegant on the outside but reaches all the way to your soul. Your heart, your intentions, and your spirit all hold a kind of beauty that I was lucky enough to experience. For a long time, I didn't understand the truth about our connection. I didn't see how rare it was, how meaningful it would become, and how deeply it would transform me. You were the one I had been searching for, even before I realized I was searching. I used to think I understood what love meant, but meeting you showed me that love is far more powerful, delicate, and consuming than I had ever imagined. Yet, when you finally entered my life, I wasn't prepared for the changes you would bring, the way you would shift the way I thought, felt, and viewed the world. I wasn't ready for how vulnerable I would become, how open my heart would grow, or how dependent I would be on the sound of your laughter and the comfort of your presence. I never thought I would fall this hard for anyone, but loving you became something natural, effortless, and inevitable. And now, your absence does not simply feel like missing someone, it feels like a part of me has been removed, leaving a space that only you were meant to fill. Every day without you reminds me of just how deeply connected we were, even when we didn't fully understand it. I realized you were my true love the moment life forced us apart. Sometimes it takes losing someone to fully understand how essential they are, how deeply woven they are into our happiness, and how profoundly they shape our inner world. Hurting you remains the worst thing I have ever done. It is a regret that sits heavy on my heart, reminding me of the pain I caused someone who deserved nothing but tenderness. Only now, with distance and reflection, do I truly grasp what I lost, someone who was more than a lover, more than a companion. You were my best friend, the person I could confide in without fear, the one who understood my silence as clearly as my words. You were my stability, my comfort, my grounding force. You were my backbone, the person who held me steady when life tried to pull me in every direction. Losing you meant losing not just love, but support, friendship, and a sense of belonging I had never found anywhere else. When I look back, I realize that you brought a kind of light into my life that I didn't recognize until it was gone. You gave me a safe place to rest my heart, a mirror that reflected not just who I was but who I could become. You believed in me in ways I hadn't learned to believe in myself, and you cared for me with a sincerity that is rare and precious. Even now, even with all the distance and silence, your impact remains, shaping my days, my thoughts, and my hopes for the future. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know this: my love for you has not faded. It has matured, deepened, and settled into a place within me that feels permanent. You are still the person I think of when I imagine happiness, still the one I turn to in my thoughts when life becomes heavy. And no matter where you go or whom you meet, a part of my heart will always belong to you. All I ask is that you remember the connection we shared, the love that shaped us, and the truth that even distance cannot erase. We were, and perhaps will always be, something rare and unforgettable. You don't see this coming, but they are slowly finding their way back to you with an intention that feels very different from anything they've shown before. For a long time, it may have seemed like they were drifting further and further away, withdrawing into silence, ignoring messages, or acting unsure about what they really wanted. What you couldn't see then, but what is becoming clear to them now, is that they were never truly avoiding you as a person. They were avoiding the truth they needed to confront within themselves. They are returning because they feel it's time to speak honestly before it becomes too late to repair what has been damaged. There is a quiet urgency growing within them, a realization that their lack of effort, their distance, and their hesitation have all contributed to misunderstandings that weigh heavily on them. They want to explain why they pulled away and why they didn't show up for the relationship the way you deserved. Their avoidance wasn't rooted in a lack of care. In fact, the depth of their emotions terrified them. They weren't prepared for how important you would become. While they might have seemed cold or uninterested on the surface, the truth is that they weren't offering attention to anyone else during this time. They weren't chasing distractions or looking for someone new. Their energy simply couldn't attach anywhere else, because you were the only person who truly captured their heart and attention. They tried to convince themselves that detachment would make things easier, but instead it only made the distance feel heavier, both for you and for them. Now they are preparing to walk directly into a commitment they once feared. Something has shifted within them, an internal clarity, a recognition of what they stand to lose if they remain silent. They know that they cannot keep circling around their feelings without ever landing on the truth. This time, they are approaching with the intention of being present, steady, and sincere. They are hoping, almost praying, that the conversation they want to have with you will shift the way you currently see them. There is a fear in their heart that you may have already reached your limit, that your patience may have worn thin, but they are holding on to hope that your connection is still strong enough to be rebuilt. Deep down, they want to show you the version of themselves they hid away, their genuine side, the side that isn't guarded or uncertain. They recognize the moments where they disappointed you, the times they made you feel unwanted, and the confusion they created through their inconsistency. Even if they didn't express it before, they have been carrying the guilt of those choices. Your absence, or the emotional distance that grew between you, has forced them to reflect on how they treated the connection. They are realizing just how much they put you through, and this realization is pushing them to change rather than repeat the same patterns. Part of the reason they are rushing back is because of the energy you carry. There is something about your presence, your warmth, your intuition, your emotional strength, that they haven't been able to shake. They are, in many ways, addicted to the way you make them feel. Your energy seems to lift them, comfort them, inspire them, and at times even challenge them to become a better version of themselves. They didn't understand this at first. It confused them and triggered fears they didn't know how to navigate. But with time, they've begun to recognize that the connection they share with you is unlike anything they've experienced. The draw they feel toward you is not something they can replicate elsewhere, nor something they want to run from any longer. Your high vibrational energy, your confidence, your emotional intelligence, your authenticity, is not only captivating to them but noticeable to others as well. People are naturally drawn to you, and your partner is acutely aware of this. They see how others respond to your presence, how magnetic you are without even trying. Instead of feeling threatened by it, though, they feel humbled. It makes them appreciate you even more, and it adds to the urgency they feel about returning to you with honesty and intention. They don't want to lose someone whose energy makes them feel alive, grounded, and understood all at once. What they want more than anything now is to open up to you emotionally in a way they haven't before. They want to let you see their vulnerability instead of hiding behind excuses, distractions, or silence. They are ready to tell you what they were afraid to say in the past, what you truly mean to them, how deeply they feel for you, and how committed they are to rebuilding trust. They know words alone won't be enough. They understand that their actions will need to reflect consistency and sincerity. But they are prepared for that. This return isn't impulsive. It's a moment of clarity for them, a recognition that if they want a future with you, they must be willing to show up with their heart open and their intentions transparent. You may still have doubts, and that's natural. But the truth is that they are approaching you not out of fear of being alone, but out of a genuine desire to reconnect, rebuild, and reveal the real version of themselves, one who is finally ready to be present, committed, and emotionally available. They hope that when they stand in front of you and speak their truth, you'll feel the sincerity behind every word.